Now, when you look at this guy's 7-day forecast, we got to survive 7 days first.
We do have to survive 7 days. After 7 days, there's a little bit of a break in the heat, but we're going into the dangerous heat there, Doug, for us. So, yeah, donation of some ice as well. Take a look at this. This was a scientific experiment. That ice cream did not last very long outside, less than 5 minutes for our ice cream to go to the wayside there as we were melting away, and you probably were melting away as well here in North Texas. The official high today, 106 degrees. That was 1 degree shy.
An explosive wildfire burned through several Northern California communities, killing firefighters and destroying dozens of homes. What is known as the Car Fire is taking down everything in its path. At least 65 structures have been destroyed, and 5 other buildings were threatened. Here's Carter Evans.
Utter devastation. This is how fast a thriving community can be reduced to rubble after a single night of absolute chaos. A harrowing scene faced by thousands of Northern California residents as they scrambled to flee a wildfire that exploded into a monster.
Numerous structures on fire.
For firefighters, it was the worst-case scenario. Extreme heat, bone-dry brush, and powerful shifting winds.
Got about a 100-foot wall of flame coming down.
As flames torched.
Very, very clear skies tonight, which means that you can faintly make out the moon as it passes through the Earth's atmosphere, and that shadow is cast onto the moon. You can just faintly make it out, so it's not complete blackness. A lot of people have gathered here. It's very exciting to actually witness something like that. Just a little while ago, it was a lot more red, and that, of course, elicited gasps and excitement, and some people started howling at the moon.
I love that, howling at the moon. So, Deborah, how long will it last with this red tone that we're seeing right now?
Well, this is the longest lunar eclipse of the 21st century. So the whole eclipse will take 1 hour and 43 minutes. The red won't last that long, though. It's starting to fade a little bit now, and as it moves out of the Earth's atmosphere, you will see it less and less and less. So I think the best part has already happened for people here.
Now, you're at the planetarium, so I would imagine there are a lot.
Time now for another installment of our series, Defending the First, where we expose the enemies of the First Amendment, free expression, and free thought. A high school teacher in Brownsburg, Indiana, is saying he was forced to resign after he challenged the district's policy on transgender students. That policy requires teachers to address these students by their preferred name instead of their birth name. Teacher John Kluge says that violates both his religious beliefs and his constitutional rights. I recently spoke to both Mr. Kluge and his attorney, Ross Stovall, and I began by challenging Mr. Stovall on whether the school district really violated his client's rights.
The constitutional issue is, can the government compel him to violate his religious beliefs? There is sufficient federal law that says that they must make a reasonable accommodation if he has religious beliefs. And those cases are really well established around the country. We believe
Lisa and Golston, we're in the Sunset West neighborhood of Redding. This is a very nice neighborhood with a lot of big, beautiful homes, and this was one of them. You can see that this brick walking path is still standing, but the rest of the home is gone. A neighbor tells me the fire came up this gully that you see behind the house, just raced up there and began destroying homes. We had a chance earlier to give you some other looks at the neighborhood. This afternoon we drove through the subdivision. We saw about a dozen homes at least that had been lost lost to this fire. Several gas lines that hadn't been turned off yet, shooting fire into the air in places. You could really get a sense of the randomness of the fire as it tore through here around 9 last night. A short time ago, we had a chance to speak with a homeowner named Thor Johnson, who made a very risky and dangerous decision not to evacuate last night. Instead, he stayed and used a garden hose to protect his home. He described how unpredictable the fire became as it raced up the gully at the end of his cul-de-sac.
Platinum selling star known for her fierce pop hits is reportedly recovering in a Los Angeles hospital surrounded by family and friends.
Sources say that Demi Lovato is doing well in the hospital, that she's okay. They're still monitoring her condition, but it's now safe for her to go home if she so chooses.
Sources close to Lovato telling multiple outlets the next step on her road to recovery will be entering a rehabilitation program. In 2010, Lovato checked into Timberline Knolls, a residential treatment facility for women battling addiction and eating disorders.
I've suffered from cross addictions over the past few years.
Telling our Robin Roberts just months later about that healing experience.
My darkest period was going into treatment for that first 48 hours and not having any communication with the outside world.
And in MTV's 2012 documentary Stay Strong, cameras capturing the star's return to the Illinois center that helped save her life.
These are like rooms with really heavy problems in it, but also rooms with miracles in it.
All right, let's get started here with President Trump back on Twitter, launching a new attack on Iran. For more on this, we're going to check in with our Karen Travers, who is standing by at the White House. Now, he's warning Iran to never threaten the U.S. again. Karen, where is this coming from?
Hi, Liz. This was an all-caps tweet very late Sunday night after the president came back from a weekend at his golf club in New Jersey, tweeting this from the White House. Again, it was an all-caps tweet where the president says if Iran threatens the United States, they will, quote, suffer consequences the like of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. Liz, the White House defending this tweet, saying that this is the president showing peace through strength, and that if anybody is inciting anything between the U.S. and Iran, it's the Iranians. This all comes after the president of Iran, Rouhani, on Sunday said that if the United States pokes or antagonizes Iran, that there would be the mother of all wars. You also, Liz, had the Secretary of State over the weekend, Mike Pompeo, saying that the Iranian regime engages in corruption and human rights abuses. But at the same time, Secretary Pompeo said there was a possibility there could be direct talks, engagement between the Trump administration and the Iranian regime. But Liz, he also said that regime engages in what he called mafia-like behavior.
Ackman, who is with our sister station in Canada. Peter, you are there at the scene. Bring us up to date. What happened and what do we know about what happened?
Well, what we heard around 10 o'clock last night, this is a very busy area, inner city area, very popular restaurants, Greek neighborhood. So it was a very packed time, lots of people on patios. When reports of gunfire started, one individual reportedly dressed all in black was shooting into restaurants, into doorways, at people walking by. Ended up, as you mentioned, shooting 14 people. 2 of them have died, 1 at the scene. We're hearing also reports of the 12 injured. There's a young child at 9 years old in critical condition. And so this person was just firing off as many shots as he possibly could. We don't know anything other than that he's a 29-year-old male. What happened at that point is police arrive on scene. They exchanged gunfire with that individual. He took off. Later, they found him dead on the street. How he died, it seems unclear at this point. Police aren't saying whether it was by their...
Of what is an unfolding disaster. Reports still emerging from this landlocked country, communist-run in East Asia, where a hydroelectric dam still under construction has collapsed, and in the process it has unleashed a flood of water on surrounding villages. It happened in the southeast of the country, in the Sanamksey district. This was late on Monday. What seems to have happened is that the dam's simply given way, and that released what is estimated to be around 5 billion cubic metres of water. How much is that? Well, it's difficult to imagine, isn't it? But we've got some pictures which give us some idea of the impact that is having. There is the watermark there, and residents simply left to take some shelter on the roof itself. The first reports suggest many houses were simply swept away. Hundreds of people are missing, and the Laos news agency says there have been several deaths. Well,